Structure determines shape, which determines polarity, which determines properties and intermolecular forces. So let's take a look at organic compounds and biomolecules. Here are the top 10 chemicals produced in the US in 2000. Stop the video and determine which compounds are organic. And the answers are: ethylene, propylene, and ethylene chloride are used to make plastics, polyethylene, polypropylene, and polyvinyl chloride. Of all the substances known, most are organic compounds, so organic chemistry is the biggest, most studied field in chemistry. Most living organisms and most compounds contain these elements. The backbone of organic compounds is carbon. Organic compounds are classified by functional groups. Functional groups are small groups of atoms within an organic compound. Hydrocarbons contain carbon and hydrogen only. We've looked at methane and octane. Those are examples of alkanes. The 3 organic compounds in the top 10 chemicals are alkenes. The hydrocarbons are nonpolar compounds. The functional groups that contain oxygen are polar groups. Ethanol is an alcohol, acetone is a ketone, and acetic acid is an acid. These elements are found in most compounds, so stop the video and review those general bonding rules. What rule is followed for each atom except for hydrogen? And the answer is: as organic compounds get bigger, you'll get tired of drawing in all those H's, so as a shortcut, we can draw a skeletal structure. In a skeletal structure, you don't have to label the carbons, and you don't have to draw in the H's bonded to carbon. So here's the Lewis structure of butane. In the skeletal structure, each line represents a covalent bond. At the end of each line is a carbon. There are 4 bonds to carbon, so we can figure out how many H's are bonded to each carbon. Acetone is a common organic solvent that's used in fingernail polish remover. Here is the Lewis structure of acetone. Stop the video and draw the skeletal structure and answer the other questions. And the answers are: acetone has a ketone functional group. Aspirin, ibuprofen, acetaminophen, and naproxen are common over-the-counter pain relievers. Aspirin is made from salicylic acid. Stop the video and identify the functional groups in each compound. And the answers are: aspirin is more soluble in ethanol than water because ethanol has polar parts and nonpolar parts, just like aspirin does. The nonpolar part of ethanol is attracted to the nonpolar part in aspirin, shown in blue. The polar part of ethanol is attracted to the polar parts of aspirin, shown in red. Capsaicin, piperine, and zingerone are the chemicals responsible for the hot and spicy tastes in foods. Stop the video and identify the functional groups in each compound. And the answers are: your tongue is burning from those chili peppers. Stop the video again and figure out what you would use to get rid of that hot and spicy taste. And the answer is not water. Although capsaicin has 3 polar functional groups, most of the molecule is nonpolar. Fats and oils are nonpolar, so butter or the fats and oils in milk or sour cream work. Some food colorings are using natural food colorings rather than artificial food colorings. For example, turmeric is yellow, beta-carotene is orange, and carmine is red. Blue M&Ms use phycocyanidin from blue-green algae. Remember from our study of color, a substance that appears blue absorbs its complementary color, which is orange. Our Food and Drug Administration has approved 9 color additives for food. Here are 3 of them. Here are the structures of natural food colors. Are these structures similar to the artificial food colors? Plastics are used in many products. A plastic is a polymer. A polymer is a long chain of repeating units called monomers. Polyethylene terephthalate is used in synthetic fibers, beverage, and food containers. Here is the monomeric unit, which is linked together to form the polymer. Coca-Cola wants a plastic bottle which comes from plant sources rather than petroleum sources. Unfortunately, only about 20% of PET and 10% of plastics overall are recycled. So we have a big plastic waste problem. For you football and soccer fans, there's a lot of chemistry involved in a soccer ball. These chemicals are polymers just like plastics. Organic chemistry is at the heart of biology and biochemistry. This table shows the 4 different types of biomolecules and the functional groups in each type. Nucleic acids contain a nitrogen base, a sugar, and a phosphate group. Here are a few biomolecules. Is it better to eat bent molecules or straight molecules? Fatty acids consist of a hydrocarbon chain and an acid group on one end. Saturated fats contain an alkane chain and an acid group. Stearic acid is an example. Unsaturated fats contain at least one carbon-carbon double bond. That's an alkene. Unsaturated fats are either bent or straight. Oleic acid is a bent unsaturated fat. Elatic acid is a straight unsaturated fat. Our body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius, so stop the video and figure out which fatty acid is better to eat. And the answer is to look at the melting point. Note that the bent unsaturated fat oleic acid has a melting point of 16 degrees Celsius. This fat is a liquid at body temperature. The straight fats, stearic acid and elatic acid, have melting points above body temperature. These fats exist in the solid state at body temperature. Two chemical companies are developing seeds that yield crops with a higher amount of heart-healthy bent unsaturated fats. The bent unsaturated fats are called cis fats. Note that the H's are on the same side of the carbon-carbon double bond. Trans fats are the straight unsaturated fats. The H's are on opposite sides of the carbon-carbon double bond. Fats are used to make soaps and detergents, so treat a fatty acid with a base such as sodium hydroxide, and that makes soap. The type of fat determines whether solid soap or liquid soap is made. Solid soaps are made from saturated fats, liquid soaps from unsaturated fats. Soap has a polar part and a nonpolar part. Here's how soap works. Here's a soap bubble with its polar head and nonpolar tail. Dirt is nonpolar and is attracted to the nonpolar tail. Rinse with water, which is attracted to the polar head, and the dirt and soap gets washed away. Chemistry in action. If you have allergies, say from pollen or pet hair, those chemicals cause the release of histamines, which cause itching, sneezing, runny nose, and watery eyes. You can take an antihistamine to relieve your allergy symptoms. Stop the video and think about how an antihistamine works. And the answer is histamines and antihistamines contain the amine functional group. Antihistamines block histamines from getting to the receptor that causes the inflammatory response.